very strong about the chances of Governor Cuomo becoming the next mayor. As a Jewish community, we know how important it is for Governor Cuomo to become our next mayor. And God willing, coming in June, we're gonna have beautiful news. Thank you everybody once again for taking the time out, and thank you everybody who was able to donate to this campaign.
Thank you so much for the word, Mr. Governor. It's a pleasure to finally have you here. Ruben, Emmanuel, and David and I, we've been working tirelessly to put this together and make sure that we get it done the way in which you expected and anticipated. From what I heard from your staff here just a few minutes ago, we exceeded expectations, and I'm super proud of that. But the only way that we were able to do that is with the team and the support of each and every one of you guys here. So we personally want to thank all of you guys for supporting our future New York City mayor monetarily. But most importantly, it is now time to support him by showing up to the ballots and voting. I think one of the key challenges that each and every one of our Baharian community members have is actually going to the ballots and voting. And I think you being here will definitely help improve on that. So I think the key here moving forward is, yes, we put our money where our mouth is, but now it's time to actually get to the ballots and vote. And Noah, do you want to say something? Say
Thank you.
And now I want to hand it over to our dear, dear future David Aronov.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all again for coming. A big thank you to my fellow hosts, Ruben Davidoff, Emmanuel Kalendar, 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 𝗖𝗵𝗵. Governor Cuomo, we are very fortunate to have you here tonight. Today is April 24th. In exactly 2 months, June 24th, is the Democratic primary to elect the next mayor of New York City. We have no other choice besides Governor Cuomo to be our next mayor. And I'll explain why, because there's a bunch of people running right now, but all the polls have said and show that this is effectively a two-person race. The person in second place, I'm not going to say his name, but you don't want to know him.
Yes.
And you don't want to know his policies, because his policies will be detrimental to our community, the Baharian community, the Jewish community, and New York City as a whole. So we will reject him, and we will make sure that we will show up on June 24th to elect Governor Cuomo as the next mayor of New York City. Governor Cuomo is not a stranger to the Jewish community. When he was the governor, he was the first governor in the nation to sign an executive order banning BDS, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions Movement against Israel, with companies that want to do business with New York. If they engage in BDS, New York State will not do business with those companies. Hate crimes at the time when he was governor, he created the New York State Hate Crimes Task Force. When houses of worship, synagogues, JCCs, said that they need increased funding for security, the governor created the nonprofit security grant program for New York State. During COVID, you can have your opinion about COVID. We all woke up every single day to the governor's briefings, and he was that calm, common sense person that we could look to in a time where uncertainty throughout the globe, right? Nobody knew what was going on. The governor kept us, I would say, sort of normal in that moment. But again, June 24th is 2 months away. It's 60 days. It's going to be here before we know it. We have to make sure that we all go out and tell everyone that we know that we have to support Governor Cuomo to be the next mayor of New York City. Please give it up for Andrew Cuomo, the next mayor of the city of New York.
David is a young, rising star, and it's a pleasure to be with him. Let's give him a round of applause. Ruben, Emmanuel, and all the hosts and co-hosts, thank you so much for taking the time. And for me, this is coming home. This is my old neighborhood. I grew up in Holliswood, maybe a mile from here. My grandfather, go up 188th Street, right past the Grand Central Parkway is Rio Drive. His house is right on the corner on Rio Drive. This neighborhood was where we used to spend a lot of time. The Dental Express on the corner That was a bar. I never went in there. The bagel store was a bagel store. We had the bowling lanes, Utopia bowling lanes, right next door. On Union Turnpike on the far side, maybe 10 stores in, was a hairstylist where my mother and Donald Trump's mother used to go to get their hair done and spend the afternoon. So it's good to be home. And right down here was Bloomingdale's, which was the treat. We went to Bloomingdale's whenever we had to get something. So it's a lot of fun to be back, and I thank you very much. What you heard is right. I'm not crazy about the line Cuomo because we have no other option.
Jewish people.
Yeah, we have no other option. We have no other option. I have no other option. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running for mayor. This is a change of life plan for me. I had not intended to run for mayor. I had been HUD Secretary, Housing and Urban Development Secretary under Clinton for 8 years. I've been Attorney General 4 years, Governor 11 years. That was enough. And I was doing other things. I was practicing law. I was getting reacquainted with my kids after working so crazy for so many years. But I was watching New York City, and I am afraid for New York City. I'm afraid. You have 3 things going on that are all bringing us to the precipice. You have COVID, post-COVID, so now everybody is remote. You can go wherever you want. You're more mobile than ever before. You're paying the highest taxes in the United States to live here. And then the quality of life drops. And all of a sudden, the equation doesn't make sense, right? Why? And people are leaving. 500,000 people left the state of New York. 500,000. Mostly wealthy, which is frightening because the wealthy 1% of the state pay 50% of the taxes. So when you're losing wealthy people, you lose your tax base. And then I looked at the other candidates, decided I had no other option. Mayor Adams, a friend of mine, he was in the Senate when I was governor. I think his heart was in the right place. But you know, when someone doesn't know how to manage, or has never managed, it's very hard to become a chief executive officer of New York City, 300,000 people. $112 billion budget you never managed before. Before him was Bill de Blasio, who I won't even talk about. But you put Adams together with de Blasio, that was 12 years. The last time you had a mayor who knew what he was doing, you have to go back to Mayor Bloomberg, who was not a political fellow, not the most charismatic fellow, but he was a good manager. And for 12 years, the city has been rudderless. That's number one. Number two, on the Democratic side, you have a far left group of ideologues who are frightening to me. They are frightening. And the Democratic Party has always had a far left, the Republican Party always had a far right. But this far left controls the entire party. There are no moderate Democrats anymore. Everybody's afraid of the far left, and they just fall over like dominoes. And the far left is zealotry and ideology over any practicality or rationality, right? First thing they started with was defund the police. Remember defund the police? Mm-hmm. They cut the police 3,000 from the police force. Why? Because it was the political ideology. Nobody should get arrested, nobody should go to jail, nobody should go to prison. That's how it started. They then accepted migrants from around the world. We took more migrants than any other city, had no idea where to put them or what to do with them. We have mentally ill homeless on the streets, which never happened before. Think about it, we've always had mentally ill people. But we've had laws in place for 40 years that say if a person is mentally ill and they're a danger to themselves or others, you can involuntarily get them the help they need. And God forbid, I had a family member who was in that condition. I wouldn't want to leave them on the street. You'd want to get them the help they need. But now they argue, well, civil liberties, civil rights, etc. They are anti-development, they're anti-business, and they call themselves socialists. So they are anti-capitalist. They're anti-wealth. I spent 2 years trying to get Amazon to come to open a headquarters in Long Island City. 2 years. Every state competed. We won. We got Amazon, 25,000 jobs. Average salary $150,000. Would have jump-started the entire tech sector. And AOC and her comrades called it corporate welfare, and Amazon said, "You're all 𝗪𝗪𝗃," and they left. That's their mentality. That is their mentality, and that has to change. Because a city is either growing or a city is dying. And if we're not getting businesses here and encouraging businesses to grow, there is no city. It's that simple. Last point, they are anti-Semitic. They're not just pro-Palestinian. They are anti-Semitic. And we have to take this very seriously. They belong to a group called the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. If you read the charter of the Democratic Socialists of America, you cannot visit Israel. One of my opponents, the Speaker of the New York City Council, first speaker in history not to visit Israel during her 4-year term. The leadership of Israel are murderers. The United States should stop all aid to Israel. There should be no normalization of relations with Israel. Israel is committing genocide. That's what they believe. That is what they believe. And literally, every opponent is a shade of socialism. You have Jewish candidates who are a shade of socialism. Why? Because that is a growing faction in the Democratic Party. You have probably 50% of the Democratic primary voters who are pro-Palestinian. And they're just going where the wind blows. And it is that serious. These protests that are happening, they're not just 25-year-old kids who get annoyed and protest. These are organized, they are well funded, they have a lot of money coming from a lot of different sources, and this is serious. And we have to take it seriously. And our response has to be serious. The anti-Semitism that is going on, I tell you the God's honest truth, if you had told me this was going to happen 10 years ago, I would have never believed it. I just would have never believed it. As David said, my father was the most active governor in the nation defending Israel. I was the most active governor on behalf of Israel. Every time Israel was attacked, I would fly to Israel. I like the kid, I always got the top suite at the King David. Not because they liked me, but because the hotel was empty, so they gave me the top suite. We did BDS, we passed laws whenever there was an act of anti-Semitism. But I used to think about the Holocaust as if it was something in the past, right? It happened, it was terrible, we should learn from it, but it could never happen again. Today is Holocaust Remembrance Day. Today. And it's God's will that we gather today. But I would have never believed that you could have this type of anti-Semitism in New York. We're too sophisticated, we're too educated, we're too culturalized. Two of my brothers-in-law are Jewish. How could it happen in New York? But it's happening in New York. And so few people are standing up and speaking against it. And it is frightening. And we have to act, and we have to act now. And I think this election should be a litmus test where the Jewish community says, we're not going to take this type of treatment and not react. We're not going to take this from the Democratic Party. If the Democratic Party is going to put up candidates who are opposed to Israel, who are anti-Semitic, who are socialists, we're going to defeat them. We're going to defeat them resoundingly. Politics works when you get engaged, and politics works because people respond to the wind, right? Politicians are weather vanes. They're not acting out of principle. They're looking at which way the wind blows, and that's the way they go. They have to know that anti-Semitism has no place in this city. Zero tolerance. And that is probably the most important issue in this election. Everything else we can take care of. We can fix the government. When I took over the state government, it was in much worse shape than the city is. We had the highest deficit in history. The state government wasn't working. The legislature wouldn't pass a bill. We turned that all around. We passed balanced budgets for 11 years in a row, everyone on time. I cut spending, but built more than anyone built before. The new 𝗪𝗏𝗪cie Airport, we're building a new JFK Airport, new 2nd Avenue subway, the 𝗂𝗫 Bridge, new Tappan Zee Bridge, did more construction than anyone else. So we can fix the government. We can do that, and we will do that. But even more important than that is this issue of anti-Semitism and making the statement that this city stands in total solidarity with the Jewish community forever. That's what the city is. Thank you, God bless you.
Governor, we actually have a special gift for you. We have someone here in the crowd. His name is Eliaso. During the height of COVID, he painted, he's an artist in the community, and he owns a pickle business. He painted a portrait of you that he'd like to present to you at this moment.
Thank you, Governor Cuomo, for your leadership. I painted this in May 2020 after you showed amazing courage to lead us every single day. You did videos for our community, for our city, for our state, and I think the whole country actually was listening to your stories. I wrote one of your most famous speeches on your hoodie. This is from New York, and yeah, I would love for you to have this as a gift from the Bahrain community too.
Wow. Thank you so much. And it's a very kind portrait. He made me look better in the portrait.